Exclusive contract novel from Feilu Fiction Network. Football. King of Midfielders. Cristiano Ronaldo Crys with Greed Long Fei's career was ruined by the Chinese Football Association's plot to break his leg due to his refusal to play a match fixing during the Provincial Games. Reborn in 2015. At the beginning, he gave a big trick to the men's football team leader who was plotting against him, but was banned by the Football Association. At this moment, awaken the supergiant football system. Load S.level player Harvey skill template. Precision guidance. When Long Fei, with a pass value of 99, made a long pass and accurately hit the male pig leader dog head from 100 meters away. Manchester United scouts were stunned on the spot. After Sir Alex's retirement, Manchester United, who has fallen into the abyss, is the savior they are desperately seeking right in front of them. Master-level midfielders. Pirlo, Ballack, Gerrard templates have been loaded. Legendary midfielders. Platini, Beckenbauer, and Rijkaard templates have been loaded. Rooney. Long Fei's passing is like a cruise missile. It hit me on the head and inexplicably entered. Cristiano Ronaldo. Is it okay to call the midfield a galactic battleship without a dragonfly? Florentino, can you really buy Long Fei? Messi. I didn't mean to offend Xavi and Iniesta, but if Barcelona's midfield has a flying dragon, it's the real dream team. European media. The Eastern Dragon is slaughtering the entire Europe. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. After Chapter 1 Rebirth, give the men's football team leader a. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dragon Kingdom. Yangqing City. Did you hear everything the leader said just now? In the second half, all of you should keep kicking and let go of the ball you should have. Don't be so rude. Do you hear me? Especially you, Long Fei. Are you proud of scoring so many goals in the first half? Long Fei, I'm talking to you. Did you hear me? Long Fei gave a wake-up call. I only feel that my consciousness has changed from vague to clear. Looking at the unfamiliar yet somewhat familiar scene in front of me. Long Fei was stunned. Is this a time travel for oneself? The scene before us. It was during my participation in the U18 Provincial Games at the age of 18. Surprisingly, I was reborn back to the age of 18. Long Fei will never forget this game in his lifetime. That is a turning point in my career, and even more so in my life. In this Provincial Games match between Nanhai team and Yangqing team. Long Fei serves as the midfield core of the South China Sea team. In the first half, he passed and shot, leading the Nanhai team 3-1 ahead of the Yangqing team. The South China Sea team, which dominates the entire game, is expected to defeat their opponents and win the championship of this Provincial Games. Unexpectedly, during halftime, national team leader Lan Yong walked into the locker room, blatantly demanding that the South China Sea team release water in the second half. Although very reluctant, but facing the pressure of Lan Yong's power. The South China Sea team, a group of teenagers, are naturally powerless to resist. But as the core of the midfield, Long Fei is very dissatisfied. Kick a fake ball. That's simply impossible. After the start of the second half, Long Fei still gave his all. There is no intention of releasing water at all. Use your personal abilities to suppress the opponent's midfield. This made Lan Yong, who was watching on the field, very angry. Directly instruct the head coach to forcefully replace Long Fei. In the end, the South China Sea team clearly released water. In the second half, he was chased by Yangqing team for 4 consecutive goals. Ranked second with a score of 3.5. Long Fei, who refused to be disciplined, was held in grudge by Lan Yong for this. Long Fei, who entered the national team for training as the best player of the Provincial Games. In a training competition, a defensive player instructed by Lan Yong fiercely tackled his leg. This extremely serious injury completely brought an early end to Long Fei's career. And from then on, he also became a cripple. Long Fei, who was originally the hope star of Dragon Country football. The trajectory of life has also undergone earth-shattering changes. Later, Long Fei found out. At the provincial sports meeting, Lan Yong allowed the South China Sea team to play a match fixing. It is precisely because at that time, Chen Shuyuan, the chief executive of the Longhua Football Association, was from Yangqing. Only when the Yangqing team wins the championship of the Provincial Games can his face be more radiant. Upon learning the truth, Long Fei was almost furious. Just because of face issues. We need these future seedlings of the Dragon Kingdom to play fake football. And it is said that the Yangqing team also won this championship. I have paid a lot of benefits to Lan Yong and Chen Shuyuan for their filial piety. How can Dragon Country football have a bright future when it comes to sorrow? The dragon flew back to its senses. At this moment, Lan Yong was wearing sunglasses. Proud and looking at the group of teenagers on the South China Sea team. These teenagers in front of me. In his eyes, it was just a chess piece that could be manipulated at will. You must be Long Fei, you better be sensible. Don't work so hard in the second half. If you want to join the national team, just do as I say. Lan Yong said to Long Fei in a threatening tone. As the leader of the men's national team, it's up to him to decide who will join the national team. Long Fei sneered. In my previous life, I refused to play football fixing. In the end, he suffered a broken leg and was buried in life. Revive a lifetime. My choice has not changed. Kick a fake ball. It's just a dream. The men's football team. In the previous life, I was accustomed to the warmth and coldness of human relationships, as well as the darkness of Dragon Kingdom football. Long Fei had already felt disgusted by all of this. He walked up to Lan Yong. Lan Yong thought Long Fei was going to admit his mistake. Great, if you know you're wrong, then, said proudly, Pop. A crisp and loud voice echoed in the changing room. I saw that Lan Yong had not finished speaking yet. The whole person was slapped by the dragon and flipped to the ground. Long Fei. You're crazy. How dare you hit me? Lan Yong was defeated by the 7 meat and 8 vegetables of Long Fei's palm fan. My face is burning with pain. I couldn't believe what was happening in front of me for a moment. The other players of the South China Sea team were also startled at this moment. Looking at Long Fei with a shocked expression on his face. Long Fei did something they wanted to do, but they never dared to do it. You're really crazy. Even I dare to hit you. Do you still want to survive in Dragon Country football? Ah. Do you believe it or not? I can have you reimburse your career tomorrow. Lan Yong shouted while standing up to catch Long Fei. Pop. Unexpectedly, Long Fei was also a big ear scraper. Fan Lan Yong to the ground again. Long Fei is 1.85 meters tall, weighs 80 kilograms, and has a strong body. And Lan Yong is a football association official who enjoys playing all day. Where did you receive the slap of Long Fei? Touching the fiery slap marks on his face. Lan Yong dare not approach Long Fei again. I only dare to curse hard from a few meters away. Long Fei sneered and said. Playing fake football. I love playing football, not to become a tool in the hands of you garbage officials. Playing in the football world of Dragon Country. I didn't plan to stay in this stinky ditch. After speaking, in the shocked and admiring eyes of everyone, the dragon flew out of the door. Ding! Lifeline change detected. Start loading the football superstar system. Progress. 5%, 39%, 86%, 100%, loading completed. Start detecting host body information. Name. Long Fei, age. 18 years old, height. 185 centimeters, weight. 80 kilograms. The dragon flew into a daze. System. Live a lifetime on your own. His limp leg was as good as before, which already made him very excited. I didn't expect the system to appear so quickly. And it's also a football superstar system. It's related to my favorite football. Long Fei eagerly clicked into the system to check. Ding. Start adapting to the host superstar template. Goalkeeper. Adaptation rate 4%, evaluation result. Poor. Defender. Adaptation rate of 25%, evaluation result. Poor. Forward. Adaptation rate 56%, evaluation result. Average. Midfield. Adaptation rate of 99%, evaluation result. Perfect. Loading superstar midfield template for host. Long Fei smiled in his heart. It is truly a system, and the detection results are very accurate. I usually play in the midfield. The host's personal properties panel has been updated. Click to view it. Long Fei immediately clicks to view. A comprehensive and detailed personal attribute panel dazzles Long Fei. Passing, short pass. 75 long pass. 70 field of view. 65, ball feeling, control. 72 dribbling. 70 response. 69, shooting, shooting. 66 long shot. 68 heading. 71, body, strength. 75 bounce. 70 physical fitness. 69, free throw, accuracy. 69 arcs. 65 dots. 70, speed, top speed. 70 acceleration. 69 agility. 65, defense, steals. 62 intercepts. 65 tackles. 63 tackles, overall evaluation of personal abilities. 68, looking at the personal attribute panel, Long Fei was completely dumbfounded. All the values are in the 60s and 70s, which is a bit unfortunate. My proudest physical strength is actually only at a level of 75. Looking at the overall evaluation of my personal abilities, it turns out to be only 68. However, upon seeing the system's explanation regarding the overall evaluation of individual abilities, Long Fei finally felt relieved. The overall evaluation of the abilities of players in the 5 major Europa League leagues has an average value between 75 and 80. The overall evaluation of the abilities of the main players of the top 5 leagues is above 85 on average. The top 10 players in the Golden Globe Awards last season had an average overall ability rating of over 90. And those with a total ability rating of 95 or above are only 2 people in today's football world. Although the overall ability evaluation provided by the system is only a reference range for Long Fei. But when there are only 2 people with a total ability rating of 95 or above, Long Fei smiled knowingly, then it must be Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. From this perspective, my overall evaluation of 68 abilities can be considered quite objective. It's almost the ceiling of Dragon Country football. Long Fei believes that with the system, his overall evaluation of abilities will definitely have a straight upward trend. Just as Long Fei was feeling emotional. The sound of the system rings again. Ding! The beginner gift pack has been delivered, and you have obtained an epic treasure chest. Do you want to open it? Long Fei felt a little comfort in his heart. Not bad, there's also a beginner gift package and benefits. Without hesitation, Long Fei immediately chose to open it. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the S.level star Harvey template. Harvey, precision guidance. Your long pass attribute value has been increased to 99 Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 2. Long pass to the ceiling. Manchester United scouting supervisor looks. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Sleeping trough. S-level player Harvey template. Barcelona's midfield master Xavi. Long Fei was taken aback. He is very aware of the horror of midfield master Harvey. That is simply an unattainable existence for oneself. Ding. The Harvey template has been successfully loaded. Your long pass attribute value has been increased, current long pass attribute value. 99, ding. Your overall ability rating has been improved. Current overall ability rating. 72, see the system prompt. Long Fei was somewhat surprised. Look at your personal attribute template again. In the field of passing, the long pass attribute has been directly increased from 70 to 99. My overall ability rating has indeed risen from 68 to 72. Good guy, this is hanging up. Bully. As a midfielder. Passing ability is the core of the core. Long transmission is of utmost importance. Midfield master Harvey, as the absolute core midfielder of Dream Team Barcelona. His long pass is like a cruise missile, hitting wherever you point. Often relying on a long pass to completely tear open the opponent's defense. Create opportunities for teammates to score directly. Besides, Long Fei is also very clear. It can be said that it is quite difficult to directly increase the overall ability evaluation by 3 points. After all, on my personal attribute panel, there are 7 major items, totaling 21 sub-item attributes. That's quite a lot. Therefore, the impact of a single change on the overall evaluation is ultimately limited. Looking at the red 99 long pass value on my personal attribute panel. Long Fei has some itching in his feet. When the Harvey template was loaded just now, I only feel a brief chill in my legs. There is nothing else unusual. By querying the system, Long Fei learned that 99 is the current highest attribute value. That is to say, the Harvey template is within oneself. It's already the ceiling for all professional football players on this planet in terms of long passes. Long Fei walked to the court with some disbelief. I casually picked up a spare football from the sidelines. Long pass 99. If it's Harvey's level of long pass. Long Fei looked towards the corner flagpole in the distance. My current location is at least 70 meters away from the corner flagpole. This is already the distance from our own backcourt to the opponent's penalty area during the game. Bang! Long Fei swung a long pass. The football swept through an arc. Accurately hit the corner flagpole. Because it's just a competition for the U18 Provincial Games. There aren't many spectators on the field. Therefore, Long Fei's amazing long pass. Not noticed by others. Long Fei was startled in his heart. Undoubtedly, it is a 99 long pass with a Harvey template. At such a distance, there is still such terrifying accuracy. Long Fei even felt that there was still room for his long pass just now. Maybe even further away, I can still hit it myself. I announce something. At this moment, the voice of the men's football team leader Lan Yong rang out on the field. Lan Yong had already walked to the podium of the stadium and started speaking angrily into the microphone. During halftime, Long Fei, a player from the South China Sea team, had a bad character for assaulting his leader. Now I announce the cancellation of Long Fei's qualification for the upcoming competition. Lan Yong was slapped twice by Long Fei. At this moment, the pain on my face is still unbearable. Long Fei sneered in his heart. Cancel my eligibility for the competition. Do you think labor and management are still in the mood to continue the competition? Long Fei looked at the football at his feet and his heart moved. He glanced at Lan Yong on the distant podium. Take a swing in place. The football drew a long arc, spinning and flying towards the podium. Ah ah. Lan Yong let out a scream. I saw the football accurately hit Lan Yong's forehead. Just knock him down to the ground. Who? So who kicked the ball? Lan Yong got up from under the table, rubbing the swollen forehead and cursing loudly. The staff around me pointed incredulously at Long Fei in the distance. Follow the path of the football flight. It could only be a masterpiece of a distant dragon flying. Long Fei. You're done. You never want to play football in Dragon Country in your lifetime. Ban. You're going to be banned. Lan Yong angrily roared into the microphone. Long Fei in the distance just smiled calmly. Extending his middle finger, he made a gesture of greeting the whole family to Lan Yong. Don't even take photos. Don't leave after all media competitions are over. The staff around Lan Yong skillfully instructed the surrounding media, fearing that they might bring out some big news. At this point, a corner on the court. A middle-aged man wearing a duckbill cap looked at all of this with a surprised expression on his face. It seems that I haven't regained my senses yet. It can be seen from the direction in which Lan Yong and others roared. That foot just hit Lan Yong's football. Was it the young man named Long Fei kicked out from afar? But how could this be possible? From a visual distance. The distance between this boy and Lan Yong must be at least 80 meters or more. Hit a person's head 80 meters away. You should know from the perspective of the kicker. That's just a small dot. This is at least a long pass accuracy that a master-level player can achieve. What happened to a young player from Dragon Country now? The middle-aged man's name is Jim Lawler. He is the chief scout of the English Premier League powerhouse Manchester United. This trip to Jiaozhou. He wasn't really very focused. If it weren't for expanding Manchester United's presence in the Dragon Country market. As a representative of Manchester United, he will not personally come to the Dragon Kingdom. I have been operating the Manchester United scouting system for many years. There are also many scouting activities for Manchester United in Jiaozhou. Occasionally, reports of talented players are presented. But scout reports mostly come from kimchi and cherry blossom countries. As for the Dragon Kingdom, Jim can't remember the last time he received a report from a player from Dragon Country. Jim has been working as a scout for Manchester United for over 10 years. The last player who left a deep impression on him was forward Dong Fangzhou. That is a young boy with an exceptionally fast speed. I joined Manchester United's first team with Cristiano Ronaldo back then. Unfortunately, in the end, Zhong Yong was still injured. Jim looked back at Long Fei. Did I really discover a passing genius in Dragon Kingdom this time? Long Fei knew that although humiliating Lan Yong made him feel very comfortable. But in the future, I probably won't be able to stay in Dragon Kingdom football. Lan Yong's roar just now was not exaggerated. As the leader of the men's football team, he and the chief executive of the Chinese Football Association, Chen Shuyuan, are covering the sky. Just one phone call from them. No domestic club dares to sign itself. Long Fei let out a cold snort. However, I have no plans to play football in China either. In my previous life, I played in China. He was eaten by Lan Yong and others, causing him to break his leg. Long Fei glanced coldly in the direction of the podium. This grudge is not over yet. Report it sooner or later. Ding. Mission mode has been activated. You have received the main mission. Task name. Starting point of career on the path of superstars. Task objective. Sign a professional contract with Europa Club. Task reward. Get a chance to draw a treasure chest. Penalty for incomplete tasks. This system will disappear. Upon seeing the system release task, Long Fei nodded. I didn't originally plan to stay in China. In addition, I now have a long pass ability that reaches a full value of 99. I naturally want to venture into Europa. But... Long Fei glanced at his phone. The current time is January 25, 2015. The transfer window for major Europa leagues during the winter break is closed. There are only 6 days left. Such a short time. How can I sign a Europa League club myself? Hello, your name is Long Fei, right? A male voice with a strange accent sounded behind Long Fei. Long Fei turned his head to take a look. Discovered a middle-aged white man wearing a duckbill cap, staring at himself. There is an expectation in the eyes. Long Fei nodded. Hello, my name is Jim. I am Manchester United's scouting manager. Here is my business card. Jim is grateful that he has been running to the Dragon country for the past few years. I can still handle some simple Dragon Mandarin communication on my own. Manchester United Scouts. Long Fei looked at Jim with a suspicious expression on his face. I was just worried about signing with Europa Club. I didn't expect a scout to appear so coincidentally. But I took a look at Jim's business card. Jim showed his work ID to Long Fei again. Long Fei's eyes lit up. Are you really a Manchester United scout? Did you kick the ball just now? Jim pointed in the direction of the podium and eagerly asked. Long Fei nodded and said, I kicked it. Can you give it another kick? Jim asked. Long Fei glanced at the podium and smiled, saying. Give that guy another kick in the head. Jim was taken aback and immediately said. As long as you can kick with the same precision as before, you can kick anywhere. Long Fei nodded. Passed the football to Jim. Just as Jim was a little confused about Long Fei's intentions. Long Fei has walked onto the grass more than 10 meters behind him. At this moment, the distance between Long Fei and the podium is even further than before. Long Fei looked at Jim calmly and said, Why are you standing there? Throw the ball over. Just throw it away casually. If the microphone on the podium is still on, you will hear a scream in 2 seconds. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 3. Does this kid have Manchester United executives as a backing? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ah. As Long Fei said. The sound of Lan Yong's screams came from the microphone. Lan Yong's forehead. Accurately hit by Long Fei's long pass again. This wave is indeed a second blooming of plum blossoms. And Jim looked at everything in front of him with a shocked expression. The position where Long Fei just stood. The distance from the podium has increased to about 100 meters. How could you accurately hit the target at such a long distance? What is this concept? The total length of an international standard football field is only 105 meters. In regular competitions, the common distance for long passes is usually around 50.60 meters. Even at this distance, the level of player proficiency. It can also lead to uneven accuracy in long passes. And the distance of Long Fei's long pass just now is close to 100 meters. Surprisingly, it can still accurately hit the target. This kind of long-distance transmission accuracy is really terrifying. And what surprised him even more was. Just now, I casually threw the football at Long Fei. That is to say, Long Fei just kicked this long pass. There are no stopping adjustments. It's completely a one-shot state. With just one kick, there is still such incredible precision in long passes. What kind of talent is this? Jim's heart was filled with excitement at this moment. In his mind, the first thing that came to mind was the iconic character of the Red Devil '92 Golden Generation. David Beckham. Beckham's precise long pass delivered countless shells to the once strong Manchester United. No. His long pass ability should be stronger than Beckham. Jim suddenly realized that he had discovered a genius player. An unparalleled genius player in the world. His mother. It's you again, Long Fei. You really ate the leopard's gall. Security guard. Where's the security guard? Get this kid for me. Don't let him run away. I won't give up until I give him a leg today. Lan Yong's furious roar echoed through the microphone throughout the room. Soon, Long Fei was surrounded by a group of people. Lan Yong was surrounded by a group of people. Hurry all the way from the podium. Because the dragon's footwork on the forehead opened twice. At this point, it has completely swollen a lot. The whole person is like a pig's head. Long Fei. You can't just leave so casually today. Lan Courage's 7 orifices smoke. But looking at the tall dragon flying. Remembering the ear scraper in the changing room just now. I dare not approach him for a moment. Sorry, this player is leaving with me today and you are not qualified to restrict his personal freedom. Jim stood in front of Long Fei and said to Lan Yong. Who are you again? Lan Yong glared at Jim and said, where did the foreigner come from? I am Jim, the scouting manager of Manchester United. Jim took out his identification and gestured to Lan Yong and others. It's just a small ball scout. What spectrum are you putting up? Just stay there. After Lan Yong finished speaking, the staff around him whispered a reminder. Manager Lan, he is Jim Rawler, not an ordinary scout, but the scouting manager of the English Premier League powerhouse Manchester United. The dinner where Chairman Chen invited the distinguished guests a few days ago, he was the one who broke the promise. Is it him? Lan Yong's face changed and his heart sank. A few days ago, the chairman of the Chinese Football Association, Chen Shuyuan, had a dinner party. There was originally a heavyweight guest invited, who was a senior executive of the English Premier League powerhouse Manchester United. I didn't expect this person to break the promise and stand up to Chairman Chen on the grounds of not being interested. In recent years, Manchester United and the Dragon Country Football Association have had some cooperation in youth training. But the youth training seedlings in Dragon Country have poor strength. I don't even have the level to enter the Manchester United trial list. Nowadays, Dragon Country football is declining year by year. The Chinese Football Association will be cursed to death. Originally, this dinner was also to establish a good relationship with the senior management of Manchester United. Let's see if we can accommodate each other, even if it means sending a few Dragon Country players for trial training. At least make the face of the Chinese Football Association hanging. Unexpectedly, it seemed to have sensed the intention of the Chinese Football Association's dinner party. The senior management of Manchester United did not come directly. Lan Yong coughed and breathed a sigh of relief, saying to Jim. Mr. Jim, how did you get involved with this kid Long Fei? This kid was hitting someone in the locker room just now, and as you saw earlier, he just threw the ball at me. It's not a good thing. Jim said calmly, as a scout, I have my own focus, and I only see a talented player with excellent footwork. As for other things, they have nothing to do with me and I don't want to know. Lan Yong was stunned by choking. Seeing the other person being too soft to eat. So he said with a strong tone, Long Fei can't leave. He committed a crime below. I need to deal with him first. Jim snorted, if I didn't hear you wrong, you just said in the microphone that Long Fei has been disqualified from participating in the U18 Provincial Games, right? Since there is no need for the competition, he can certainly leave on his own. Additionally, this is a match for U18 players. As far as I know, Long Fei has not yet signed any professional contracts with any domestic clubs. No one has the right to restrict him, whether it's at the competition level or the club level. Lan Yong knew he was wrong, and for a moment he was stuttered. "No, Mr. Jim, why are you holding on to this kid?" Lan Yong said. "I'm taking Long Fei away today, and tomorrow I'll fly to Britain to sign the contract." Jim said. "What? Are you signing with Long Fei?" "Signing with Manchester United." Lan Yong said incredulously. Jim's words. It also surprised everyone present. Long Fei is indeed a very outstanding young player in this year's U18 Provincial Games. But the strength he demonstrated was at most comparable to signing domestic clubs. Sign with Manchester United. Signing a contract with such a Premier League powerhouse is quite a fantasy, isn't it? Long Fei, let's go. Jim glanced at Lan Yong and said to Long Fei. Long Fei nodded and swaggered away from the field with Jim under the gaze of everyone. Given Jim's identity, Lan Yong dare not confront him head-on. He never thought of it. Long Fei, this kid, surprisingly has the support of Manchester United's senior management. No wonder you dare to humiliate yourself so boldly. Lan Yong looked at Long Fei's back and kicked the grass fiercely. He naturally couldn't swallow this breath. Looking around at some media. These can all be considered as the mouthpiece media of the Chinese Football Association. Objects that one can control at will. Lan Yong sneered at the corners of his mouth, with some calculation in his heart. The next day. In the morning, Long Fei woke up early. According to yesterday's agreement. In the afternoon, he will fly to Manchester with Jim. Embark on your journey to Europa. As a result, Long Fei opened his phone. Explosive news articles occupy many media headlines. U18 Arena returns villains. The changing room performs all martial arts, U18 Provincial Games scandal. Genius players are violent. Is this kind of player the future? Dragon country football is unlikely to have a bright future. The ball skills are not worth mentioning, the game is a big fight. Such a player should be banned. Looking at the news one by one, Long Fei knew that this was definitely Lan Yong's masterpiece. If we only talk about our own issue of hitting others, Long Fei can handle things alone. Beating Lan Yong was very satisfying. He absolutely acknowledges this matter. But after reading the content of these news, Long Fei was simply laughed at in anger. In these news, I became a brainless violent maniac, beating the leaders of the Chinese Football Association without any reason. Finally, it also relies on the benefits paid to Manchester United scouts. Manchester United scouts cleared the situation for themselves. Prepare to head to Europa to avoid the wind. And Lan Yong asked the team members to kick a fake ball. But it didn't mention a word. The comments from fans below these news are also filled with various forms of anger. Dragon country football is really hopeless. You can tell from these players. Hitting someone, even with this energy, I haven't used it on the field. News related to Dragon country football is not comforting. Such a player should be banned. It's too bad. Still a genius player from Dragon Country knows everything about their qualities. It's obvious that it's the birth of a trash player. Long Fei felt helpless and said, Chinese people are too easily influenced by rhythm. However, Long Fei fully understands in his heart. The Dragon Kingdom men's football team is really too lackluster. The Chinese Football Association is a fighter in the trash. It's impossible to have any good news when you see news related to Dragon Country men's football. The subconscious disappointment of fans is also understandable. But the truth about this matter. I will definitely make it public. I, Long Fei, can never go eat this kind of hidden loss. The current domestic public opinion is very unfavorable to oneself. Long Fei is very clear. What I need to do now is to immediately establish a foothold in the Europa League. Only by showcasing one's own strength. Only by speaking out can one be noticed by the media. After a long flight journey of over 10 hours, the plane landed in Manchester, Britain. Under Jim's leadership, Long Fei arrived at Manchester United's training ground. It is already January 27th, and there are only 4 days left until the winter transfer window closes. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 4. Exemption from trial training, signed directly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He is one of the most outstanding young players I have ever seen. His long biography is simply amazing. I take my 10-year career as a scout as a guarantee. How could you make such a hasty judgment? Not even a chance for a trial. Manchester United head coach's office. The anger of scout supervisor Jim Lawler. Even Long Fei, who was waiting outside, could hear very clearly. In the office, Manchester United head coach Van Gaal stubbornly shook his head. Jim, I know the team's situation is very difficult now. But you don't need to seek medical attention in case of an emergency, do you? A boy from Dragon Country, or a boy who hasn't even made it to the national team at the age of 18. You asked me to give such a player a trial opportunity. I even feel like you're wasting my time. Manchester United has not yet emerged from a slump this season. Since the retirement of Sir Alex Ferguson in the summer of 2013. Manchester United fell from the throne of the League Championship all the way. In the 2014 season, new coach Moyes set numerous shameful records. For the first time at home, he faced a double victory from the top 3 teams in the Northwest, Liverpool, Everton, and Manchester City. I conceded a goal in the first minute of my first Premier League game. 4 rounds in advance secured the lowest point in Premier League history. After cleaning up Moyes, the newly appointed head coach Van Gaal's performance is not very good either. At present, the league is over half full, and Manchester United's league ranking has not even entered the top 4. Only ranking in the middle of the league. Coach Van Gaal was already dissatisfied with the signings during the winter transfer window. Now Jim is bringing a Dragon Country player to sign the contract. In his opinion, it's simply adding to the chaos. After unsuccessful communication, Jim had to leave the office with an angry expression on his face. Ed's power over Van Gaal is a bit too great. Surprisingly, I refuse to even give players a trial opportunity. It's entirely based on my own preferences, it's too much. What Jim said about Ed. It refers to Ed Woodward, the CEO of Manchester United Football Club. At this moment, Jim brought Long Fei to Woodward's office. Jim, have you returned from the Dragon Kingdom? Why didn't you mention it in advance? You worked hard on this trip to Jiaozhou. Seeing Jim come in, Woodward smiled and said. He looked at Long Fei again and said in confusion. Who is this? This is a genius player I discovered on my trip to the East, and I think the team should give him a chance. But Van Gaal is too stubborn, he doesn't even agree to the trial. Jim said angrily. When I heard that Dragon Fei came from the Dragon Kingdom, Woodward's gaze was slightly dim. He knows the level of football in Dragon Country. He also understands why Coach Van Gaal is too lazy to give players a chance to try out. Obviously, I think this Dragon Country player. It definitely won't meet the team's requirements. There is a precedent for players from Jiaozhou to achieve success at Manchester United. For example, Park Ji-sung from Kimchi Country. And Kagawa Shinji from Sakura Country. But it is indeed difficult for players from Dragon Country to regain confidence. However, Woodward still has great respect for Jim. He believes in Jim's judgment. The friendly match between Manchester United and Sporting Lisbon in the Portuguese Premier League back then. It was Jim who planned it firsthand. It was also in this game that 18-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo from Sporting Lisbon successfully conquered head coach Ferguson. Let Sir Alex also recruit Cristiano Ronaldo to his command. Just a few years later, this superstar won the Ballon d'Or and became the world's best. Successfully discovering Cristiano Ronaldo has also become a brilliant achievement in Jim's resume. Woodward rarely sees Jim so praising a young player. He glanced at Long Fei. This young player should have his own outstanding qualities. Woodward said, "Jim, I believe in your judgment. But have you ever thought about it, even if he passes the team's trial? As a non-European player, he needs a work permit to play in the Premier League. But obviously, Long Fei does not have the qualifications to apply for a labor certificate." Jim sighed slightly. The application for a Premier League work permit requires players to not only have national team playing requirements. There are also requirements for the FIFA ranking of the player's country. Unfortunately, as a player of Dragon Country, Long Fei, neither of these conditions are met. We can try the genius clause, Jim said unwillingly. If the genius player clause is passed, he doesn't need a work permit to represent Manchester United. Woodward shook his head. We can certainly apply to the English Football Association for the genius player clause. But you know, this application needs to go through the evaluation and review of the English Football Association before it can be approved. Moreover, a player from Dragon Country without any international A-level tournament appearances. Jim, you should also be able to guess what the probability of approval is. Woodward's words left Jim somewhat silent. At this moment, Jim also realized. It's not very realistic to have Long Fei represent Manchester United now. There are many insurmountable difficulties. Jim looked at Long Fei apologetically. Then he said to Woodward, "I believe Long Fei is a genius player, at least Manchester United must not lose him. Ed, don't forget about Pogba 2 years ago." Jim said coldly. "When I hear the name Pogba." Woodward was taken aback. In the summer of 2012, Jim earnestly advised Woodward. "Don't let go of this 19-year-old boy from Gaul. We should immediately sign a formal contract with him for the first team." But Woodward didn't care. As a result, Pogba joined Juventus in Serie A as a free agent. In the second year, he won the Europa Golden Boy Award. 3 years have passed now. Pogba has grown into a midfield superstar with a strong voice throughout Europe. Last season, he formed a top-level midfield combination with Pirlo and Vidal, leading Juventus all the way to the Champions League final. Pogba's value in the transfer market. It soared all the way to €80 million. Because of this incident, the club is almost being scolded to pieces by the fans. Jim said, "I don't want Long Fei to become the next Pogba. Because I know he will definitely be even stronger than Pogba in the future. Jim has over 20 years of career as a scout. I have encountered countless supernovae. He has never seen any young players. There is top-notch long-range accuracy like Long Fei. Even at the age of 19, Pogba was very outstanding. But compared to Long Fei, their long-distance transmission skills are completely incomparable. Not to mention that Long Fei is only 18 years old, younger than Pogba back then. Jim also has reason to believe Long Fei's future will be even more limitless." Jim's high praise for Long Fei. Let Woodward take another look at Long Fei. Then, Woodward nodded. "Okay, Jim, I believe in your judgment. I agree to sign with Long Fei. In the form of exemption from trial training." Woodward's words excited Jim greatly. "Ed, you made a wise decision. You must remember this day today. Every day in the future, you will be grateful to yourself for the decisions you have made today." Woodward smiled. Shaking hands with Long Fei, he said, "Welcome, young man. Welcome to join Manchester United. Woodward signed with Long Fei in the form of trial training. The first is to fully trust the vision of gold medal scout Jim. Secondly, in order to shorten the time for signing with Long Fei. After all, Long Fei has just landed in England. His player identity declaration and registration. There are many tedious processes. If we continue to carry out trial training work, it will take up a lot of effort. After all, the transfer window is only a few days left and will be closed. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 5. Super fighting spirit, extremely strong confidence. He must. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day. Manchester United has signed a formal contract with Long Fei. The contract period is 2 years. The weekly salary is £2,000. The total annual salary is around £100,000. This is a typical new employee contract. Long Fei signed a contract without the need for trial training. The contract given by Manchester United. It can be said that he is quite sincere. But it can also be seen from the annual salary on this contract. In the hearts of Manchester United's senior management. What is the positioning of Long Fei? You should know the substitute players for Manchester United's first team. The lowest annual salary is also £1.8 million after tax. Compared to Long Fei, it's a whopping 18 times worse. This also indirectly illustrates Manchester United's senior management's positioning of Long Fei's strength. I think this young man from the football desert dragon country may not meet the requirements of a first-line substitute yet. Long Fei doesn't care about salary. I have my own system in hand, and in the future, renewing a big contract through performance will be a matter of minutes. The urgent task now. Successfully obtaining a formal contract first. Complete the system task before we speak. Long Fei didn't think too much. I have roughly reviewed the contract and there are no issues. He signed his own name on the contract. Manchester United CEO Woodward smiled and nodded. He said, Long Fei, you should also be very clear about the current situation. Because you don't have a work permit, you won't be able to officially represent Manchester United's first team. My plan is to have you train with the youth team first. On the other hand, we are working hard to apply for the talent player quota. If nothing unexpected happens, it should be possible to pass the review within a few months. Mr. Woodward, I want to play a game, a formal professional match. Long Fei interrupted the path. Woodward was taken aback and then smiled. As I said, you still can't represent Manchester United's first team. Looking at Long Fei with a confident expression on his face. Woodward was stunned again, as if he understood the meaning of dragon flying. Jim seemed to have not reacted yet and said to Long Fei. Dragon, you only need to wait patiently for a few months to get the Genius Clause quota. Without a work permit, you cannot play the official professional league yet. No, actually he can play, Woodward said. If Long Fei wants to play professional games, there is indeed a way. He can play in the English Championship. Dragon, do you mean that? Long Fei nodded. In his opinion. Instead of waiting for these few months in vain. It's better to gallop on the professional field for more pleasure. Revive a lifetime. The biggest expectation is to return to the field. Go back to the professional arena and work hard. In addition, my current self has a system added. It is even more important to prove one's strength on the field. Woodward continued. The English Championship is the second-tier league in England. There are also talented players applying for spots. But because it's one level lower than the Premier League, the application process and review process for English Championship teams are far less strict than in the Premier League. Premier League teams need several months of approval process. The English Championship team only needs 1 or 2 days to complete. And the approval rate is also very high. Jim's eyes lit up and he said, that means Long Fei can apply for a talent player spot through the English Championship team. This way you can play in the English Championship and play professional matches. Jim is well aware of the experience gained from playing professional games. It's much higher than training with the team. After all, no matter how much you train, you can't compare to being direct in real combat. But Woodward looked at Long Fei with a serious expression. The talent player quota applied for by English Championship teams can only be used to represent English Championship teams. Invalid for Premier League teams. And if you have applied for a talent player spot from an English Championship team, we Manchester United can no longer apply. Jim frowned and said, that means. Although Long Fei can play professional matches in the English Championship. But if you want to represent Manchester United in the Premier League next season, you will have to reapply for a spot as a talented player. At that time, it will take several months of approval time again. Isn't this a vicious cycle? Woodward interrupted, unless, Long Fei, can you allow us to obtain a labor permit in the form of an appeal? Woodward finished speaking. Jim was taken aback. Appeal to obtain a labor certificate. The so-called appeal to obtain a labor certificate. It is the second form of obtaining a labor certificate. It's also the most difficult way. As mentioned earlier, obtaining a labor certificate in a conventional form. Whether it's having a record of playing for the national team or not. The national team still needs to have a higher ranking in FIFA. Long Fei is not satisfied. Therefore, Jim and Woodward jumped directly to the issue of applying for the talent player quota. I didn't dare to think about appealing to the labor certificate at all. Jim is well aware that the probability of obtaining a labor certificate through appeal is extremely low. It is the most difficult way for a non-European player to play in the Premier League. This requires players to be within a certain range of the season. Achieve convincing excellent results. And this so-called convincing is far from as simple as 4 words seem. Firstly, at least become the absolute core player of your team. Secondly, the results of leading the team must be very outstanding. Only then can there be a possibility of a successful appeal. Even if Long Fei plays the English Championship. It's not easy to achieve these 2 major goals. You should know that there are 24 teams in the English Championship. Although there can only be 3 teams promoted to the Premier League each season. But by the end of the season, it often happens that the top 10 league points will be very close. The final 3 spots for promotion will be determined by the top 10 teams fighting against each other. In other words, more than 1/3 of the teams in the English Championship. They all have at least the competitive level of downstream teams in the English Premier League. This is also true even as a second-tier league in England. The root cause of the frequent overcrowding of fans in English Championship matches. Because both in terms of competitive level and attention, the English Championship is also very strong. Long Fei, as a player who previously only played football within the country of Long. A young player who has never had experience in playing in the Europa League. If you want to debut in the English Championship, become the core of the team and lead the team to achieve results. And it's just half a season. This is almost a fantasy. Even if you believe in Long Fei's talent. Jim still thinks this is too unrealistic. Long, you should be more down to earth, patiently train with the team, and wait for the talent quota application to be more secure. Jim persuaded. Long Fei smiled and said, Mr. Jim, I am very grateful that you helped me secure the opportunity to sign for Manchester United. It's also time for me to show some strength to prove your vision. I want to play professional matches, and I am also very confident that I can pass the competition and successfully obtain a labor certificate. If it's just a desire for comfort and just a few months of slacking off to obtain a work permit, one can qualify for official matches. I would rather not have such an opportunity. Long Fei's firmness and confidence left Jim stunned. Jim suddenly felt it. The extraordinary qualities of this dragon country youth in front of me. Previously, I was attracted by Long Fei's incredible talent for long passes. Now, Long Fei's super strong self-confidence and fighting spirit far surpassed those of his peers. It gave him a great shock in his heart. Jim has discovered many famous superstars. But players like Long Fei who have extremely strong confidence and fighting spirit are rare. The last superstar at the age of 18 with such confidence. It was Cristiano Ronaldo who soared to the sky at Manchester United. Jim looked at Long Fei with a determined gaze. Nodding, he said, "Okay, I respect your decision." Manchester United CEO Woodward also greatly appreciates Long Fei's decision. Being able to give up the comfort of training with the team for several months. Turn around and resolutely immerse yourself in professional competitions to prove oneself. With this courage, it has already surpassed many players of the same age. Woodward said, "There are only 3 days left until the transfer window closes. If you want to play in the English Championship in the second half of the season. So there's only one choice left." Woodward raised a document in his hand. Blackburn in the English Championship is currently lacking a midfielder. Due to financial reasons, Blackburn wants to rent a midfielder for free. We can let Long Fei join Blackburn on loan. Woodward looked at Long Fei and said, "Dragon, what do you think?" Jim also looked at Long Fei with a slightly anxious expression. Blackburn Rovers have not performed well in the English Championship this season. Half of the season. Currently, it only ranks 20th in the English Championship. Not only that. They are far from the relegation zone of the English Championship. There are only 2 wins and 6 points. The team's performance is so poor, and they are also plagued by weak forwards. Entering such a team, Long Fei couldn't even hold on to the team's thighs. You can only rely on yourself. This is not an ideal team. But there are only 3 days left until the transfer window closes. Long Fei really doesn't have a better choice if he wants to play a formal game. Long Fei nodded, his expression calm. "No problem, as long as I can play professional matches, I am willing to lend and join Blackburn. The new book has been released, please vote and comment on it. Starting from 5 p.m. every day, with a guaranteed minimum of 10 p.m. Vote more and encourage more. If you have any suggestions or ideas, please feel free to share them in the book review section. Thank you. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 6. Full value long pass, watch the silly whole game. Still working in a daze. You are listening at novel full.audio. Dragon Country player. And he joined without trial training. Mr. Jim, I didn't mean anything specific to you. I believe in your judgment. Although Blackburn are currently facing a shortage of a midfielder. But loaning out such a player, and also having to use a spot applied for by a genius player for him. To be honest, this is a bit confusing for us. Blackburn Club training ground. Blackburn manager Johnson looked at Jim and Woodward and said somewhat helplessly. Originally, Manchester United agreed to rent a midfielder for free. This news made Johnson overjoyed. Although Manchester United's performance in the Premier League this season is not ideal. But a skinny camel is bigger than a horse. Manchester United as a prestigious team. Their players naturally won't be any worse. At least playing in the English Championship should be no problem. Being a franchisee is a good deal with immediate combat effectiveness. But when Johnson discovered the players rented from Manchester United. As a player of the Dragon Country, Long Fei, Johnson was a bit unhappy. There is no record of playing in the Premier League. There is even no record of playing in any Europa League. Even in the Dragon Kingdom. The recent game. It is just a provincial sports competition within the country of Guilong. This is a bit unreliable, isn't it? We are renting Blackburn for free. But at least it also helps your Manchester United players improve. Use such a pitiful player with a poor resume to make up the number. It's a bit out of place. Johnson just complained a bit. At this time, Blackburn's head coach Mobley also walked over from the direction of the medical examination center. Mowbray is holding Long Fei's medical report. Hand it to Johnson without saying a word. Needless to say, the physical examination results of Long Fei are definitely not very good. Based on comprehensive speed data, the team only ranks 10th. In terms of strength, the team ranks 9th. In terms of endurance data, the entire team did not make it to the top 11. When Mobley said this, he had no mood to continue speaking. Don't blame me for being straightforward. The reason we want to loan a midfielder from your team. What we need is to become an absolute mainstay in the starting lineup. Look at these physical fitness data, each item is at the end of the starting lineup, and some are even inferior to substitutes. This medical report, at its peak, is the level of a substitute player in the English Championship. Sorry, this is not the player we need. Blackburn head coach Mobley speaks quickly. Jim Lawler, however, smiled confidently and said, "Mr. Mobley, don't be so full of words. A truly talented and good player can be seen solely from the medical report. What's the use of us scouts? Why don't you just use the computer to filter players' medical information directly?" Mobley snorted. "Jim, I know you're a seasoned scout, but scouts can also take a wrong look." Jim said, "Did I take my eyes off? Let's talk with facts. As far as I know, Blackburn is currently suffering from a lack of sharpness. The biggest root cause. It's just that the players lack a midfield with strong technical abilities. Judging from your arbitrary judgment on the players based on the medical examination report just now. No wonder the players on the field are rough people with insufficient technical abilities." Jim splashed blood with a single shot. Immediately choked to the point where Mobley couldn't speak. But what Jim said is also true. The current midfield of the team is a group of rough guys. It's okay to fight and play hard. It really matters about technical passing and so on. It's just not enough to see. Unable to pass the ball in midfield. The striker cannot eat the cake. That's just a lack of strength. Technical midfielders are highly sought after. What's so easy to find? And Blackburn also wants to rent for free. There is no free lunch in the world. It's even harder to demand a midfield player with technical skills even if you want it for free. Mowbray was momentarily speechless and could only force himself to say, "If you say so much, then you should replace me with a technical midfielder." Jim smiled and said to Long Fei, "Dragon, let them open their eyes." In the puzzled gazes of Mobley and Johnson, Long Fei said to Coach Mowbray, "Mr. Mowbray, can you choose one of the conical barrels over there?" Long Fei pointed to a field where 3 conical buckets used for training stood from a distance. "What do you mean?" Mobley couldn't grasp the intention of Long Fei. He looked at manager Johnson. The latter is even more unclear about what Long Fei wants to do. "Forget it, just the middle one." Long Fei was too lazy to talk nonsense and said on his own. I didn't wait for Mowbray and the others to react. Bang! The football under Long Fei's feet has already flown out. Dong! The conical bucket in the middle was precisely hit by the football and fell in response. And the conical barrels on both sides still stood quietly. Mobley. Johnson. Woodward. The scene became very quiet for a moment. Manager Johnson withdrew his shocked chin. I couldn't help but glance at the head coach Mowbray. I didn't wait for Johnson to ask. Mobley has already given the answer he wants. At least 80 meters. At least 80 meters. Both of them involuntarily glanced at Long Fei. Like looking at a monster. Go wherever you go beyond 80 meters. When it comes to hitting the conical bucket in the middle, just hit the one in the middle without bias. What kind of powerful long-range accuracy is this? And the shock in Manchester United CEO Woodward's heart. No less than the two of Mobley. He did not personally witness the strength of Long Fei. Previously, he signed with Long Fei to avoid the sincerity of trial training. On the one hand, I have great faith in Jim's vision. On the other hand, it also values the identity of the dragon-flying dragon people. You should know that the fan base of Dragon Country is a very terrifying amount. And the Longwa market. It is definitely a presence that cannot be ignored by the various European powerhouses. Signing with Long Fei will definitely bring attention to the Dragon Country market for Manchester United. Make Manchester United the most exposed powerhouse in Dragon Country. That is to say, Woodward's positioning of dragon flying in his heart. The commercial value is greater than the practical value. But at this moment, I witnessed with my own eyes Long Fei's long pass skill. Woodward couldn't believe it for a moment. Does Longwa really have such a talented and abnormal young player? Woodward looked at Long Fei at this moment, his heart filled with joy. Fortunately, Long Fei was signed. Long Fei just demonstrated the precision of long passes. Even in the Premier League, few people can easily achieve it. Maybe he can really make a name for himself in the English Championship. If Long Fei makes a name for himself, it will inevitably become the focus of attention in the Longwa market. At that time, Manchester United, who had signed with Long Fei, would inevitably be favoured by the Longwa market. This young man named Long Fei is a cash cow that Manchester United must hold on to tightly. Compared to the three people in shock. Jim, who has already witnessed the miraculous feat of the long-flying legend. Obviously, it's much calmer. Coach Mobley, Manager Johnson, what do you think? Regarding this transaction, we still don't want to sign it. Sign it now. Coach Mowbray spoke while taking a photo of Johnson, who was still in shock. Afraid of slowing down a bit, Manchester United changed their mind and no longer loaned Long Fei. Manager Johnson also reacted. Quickly pick up the phone and call the assistant. Hey! Hurry up and get the lease agreement ready, hurry up. Right. Right now. Trial training. What kind of trial training will be arranged? Sign now. A genius player from Manchester United who doesn't need to be tested, how about you go on a trial to improve your skills? Indeed, in this world, strength still speaks for itself. After showcasing his ability to pass on the sky. The loan contract between Blackburn and Manchester United has also been successfully signed. The lease term expires at the end of this season. Coach Mowbray, who had previously had some criticisms about Long Fei's medical report. At this moment, in the eyes of Long Fei. Always full of laughter. I simply treat Long Fei as a treasure. When signing the lease agreement. I have also asked Manchester United CEO Woodward multiple times. Can we rent it for an additional year? However, Woodward naturally won't agree to this request. After learning that Long Fei has such talent. He wished he had passed this half-season earlier. Let Long Fei return to Manchester United as soon as possible. Having such a talent for long-range transmission. Long Fei is sure to make a name for himself in the English Championship. Wait for Long Fei to obtain his labour certificate. At that time, the great Buddha Long Fei must be invited back. The staff in Blackburn are also very efficient. Sure enough, it only took one day. He successfully applied for the talent player spot in the English Championship for Long Fei. At this point, Long Fei can now officially make his debut in the English Championship. After bidding farewell to Jim and Woodward. Long Fei's brief career at Blackburn has officially begun. Task name. Starting point of career on the path of superstars. Task objective. Sign a professional contract with Europa Club. Completed, task reward. Get a chance to draw a treasure chest. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 7. Open the precious treasure chest. Stand firm in England. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After returning to the accommodation arranged for oneself in Blackburn, the system immediately sent a message prompt. Long Fei opens the system. I have obtained an opportunity to draw a treasure chest myself. Very prominently displayed on the system main page. Through these days of research, Long Fei is responsible for the various functions of the system. I also gained some understanding. Complete the task of system publishing on your own. You will have the opportunity to draw the treasure chest. The system treasure chest is divided into excellent level treasure chest, exquisite level treasure chest, epic level treasure chest, legendary level treasure chest. There are 4 types in total. Needless to say, it can be seen literally. The epic and legendary treasure chest must be very awesome. However, from the system interface perspective, the images of exquisite, epic, and legendary treasure chests are all gray. It seems that it has not been unlocked yet. Long Fei doesn't care so much anymore. I can't wait to open the treasure chest extraction interface. I decisively clicked on the extraction. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining an excellent level treasure chest *1. Ding! Congratulations to the host for unlocking the qualification to obtain the excellent level treasure chest. At the same time, the picture of Long Fei seeing the exquisite treasure chest changes from dark gray. It turned bright blue. Obviously, in the future, one should be able to draw treasure chests at an excellent level. System prompt. The more times the host extracts the treasure chest, the greater the likelihood of obtaining a high-level treasure chest. Long Fei enters the personal warehouse within the system. Opened my excellent level treasure chest. Congratulations to the host for receiving £100,000 in cash. Congratulations to the host for obtaining top-notch English communication skills. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the excellent treasure chest clue. At the same time, Long Fei felt his brain heat up. Various English information flooded into my brain. I can blurt out fluent English in an instant. A proprietary term related to various football tactics and techniques. It's even more effortless. Long Fei was taken aback. Previously, I had discussions with senior executives from Manchester United, Blackburn and others to negotiate a peace treaty. Basically, it is necessary to follow the translator around. But now I am completely able to communicate with them easily and authentically now. Being in a foreign land, smooth communication is crucial. After all, in a completely unfamiliar environment. If there are language barriers, whether it's regular training or communication with coaches and teammates, big problems can arise. There are many inconveniences in daily life. Unable to adapt to the environment in Britain. It's impossible to play well. This is a huge challenge that many overseas players have to face. However, for the current dragon flying, it's no longer a problem. In addition to top-notch English communication skills, the £100,000 obtained can also be considered as a solution to Long Fei's urgent need. Although when signing with Manchester United kindly advanced their salary by 2 months in advance. But after arriving in Britain, the expenses for personal necessities and other aspects are quite substantial. Long Fei was soon stretched thin. This £100,000 is enough for oneself to squander in a short period of time. Although these 2 things were obtained from the excellent level treasure chest, it can be considered quite useful for one's current self. But Long Fei is still not satisfied. Because this did not meet their expectations of awesome. Long Fei carefully checked the system again. It was only then that I finally understood what all 4 types of treasure chests could obtain. The item obtained from an excellent treasure chest. They are all props closely related to one's life outside the arena. The item obtained from an exquisite treasure chest. They are some auxiliary props on the field. From the preview section displayed in the system. Long Fei sees the battle boots props, strength recovery potions, injury and disease recovery pills and other awesome props. And to the epic level treasure chest. The items in the system preview excited Long Fei's heart. These are all templates for master level midfielders. And each template seems to correspond to an outstanding strength. Pirlo, Vieira, Zidane, Ronaldinho, Ballack, Beckham. Any one of them is something that many midfielders in today's football world look up to. Just like I already have Harvey templates loaded on me now. Long Pass has reached a maximum of 99 at the abnormal level. If you obtain the master template in the treasure chest, other attributes of oneself will definitely have an abnormal improvement like in a Long Pass. And to the final legendary treasure chest. Long Fei just glanced at the name in the preview. It has already made his heart surge. The Iron God of War. Matthias. Attack Master. Platini. Football Emperor. Beckenbauer. Just the names of these legendary midfielders. It's enough to carry a legendary treasure chest. Long Fei looked into his personal warehouse again. There is still one clue left from the excellent treasure chest that was just drawn. Long Fei clicked to use. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining clues to the excellent treasure chest. Next time you draw a treasure chest, you must obtain an excellent level treasure chest. Long Fei nodded. This buff prop is good. According to the system's rules. I can only draw an excellent level treasure chest once. The qualification for obtaining an epic level treasure chest should unlock it. It seems that I need to complete the system task as soon as possible. More treasure chests need to be extracted. The more times the treasure chest is drawn, the more times it is taken. The chance of obtaining a good treasure chest will also be greater. Ding. The main quest has been updated. You have received a new main quest. Task name. Embark on the professional field. Task objective. Represent Blackburn in official matches. Task reward 1. Get an opportunity to draw a treasure chest. Task reward 2. Unlock training mode. Quickly increase attribute values. New task updates. The task reward caught Long Fei's attention. A training mode that can quickly improve attribute values. Since obtaining the system a few days ago. My pitiful attribute values. Long Fei felt quite helpless. In my spare time these days. Long Fei will also find opportunities to bring football and find a field to train on his own. But no matter how much sweat you sweat. The attribute values on one's personal attribute panel. It is still as stable as Mount Tai, with no intention of change and growth. I was originally worried about this matter. I didn't expect this training mode to arrive in a timely manner. It seems that one cannot blindly train oneself. Only by combining the training mode of the system. Only then can we effectively improve attribute values. It's getting late. Long Fei took a hot shower. Lie down early to rest. Tomorrow is Blackburn's training day. And this weekend, Blackburn will welcome their first league match after the winter break. You must adjust your best state. Only in this way can we possibly make it to the squad for the weekend competition. The next day. Long Fei arrived at Blackburn's training ground early in the morning. Actually, since being reborn. Long Fei feels high-spirited every day. He has a passion for football. In my previous life, I suffered from the Chinese Football Association's assassination attempt. Enduring the pain of a broken leg and forever bidding farewell to the field, bidding farewell to the sport of football. This makes his life more difficult than death. Revive a lifetime. Return to the arena. Being able to play my beloved football again. This is a great gift from heaven to him. Therefore, at this time, the dragon flies. No matter how much training, no matter how much sweat. In Long Fei's heart, it is also a great pleasure. Blackburn manager Mobley arrived at the training ground at this moment. As usual. He arrived at the training ground early and will keep track of the attendance of the players on today's training day. The team's performance was very poor before the winter break. Even on the brink of relegation at one point. Blackburn may not be like those top clubs in the Premier League. It is a globally renowned big club. But when it comes to history, Blackburn can definitely be tough. As early as the end of the 19th century, Blackburn had already established a team. And became the predecessor of the English Premier League, one of the first teams to participate in the British Football League. On the historical background. Even when facing English Premier League giants, Blackburn is also not at all illusory. Just in today's world football, it is genuine football that dominates. Blackburn, lacking funds. Also, the sun is setting in the Western Mountains. A few years ago, they also fell from the Premier League to the Championship. Now it has fallen back into the relegation zone of the English Championship. Is it difficult to be relegated to League One, which is one level lower than the Championship? Coach Mowbray will never allow such a situation to happen. As a native of Blackburn City, and I was in the era of a player, I have also played for Blackburn, a hometown team. Therefore, Mobley has a deep affection for Blackburn. It goes without saying. It's already 7:30 am. Through the barbed wire of the training ground, Mobley was surprised to discover there is already a player training. Can these little brats suddenly have an idea? I finally understand that in order to play a good game, one must train hard. Mobley let out a cold snort in his heart. However, when he walked into the training ground, it was discovered that the person training with the ball on the training ground was actually Long Fei. Mobley froze directly. Surprisingly, it's the genius from the Dragon Kingdom who just signed the contract. Mobley nodded in relief. After completing the signing of the contract yesterday, Mowbray deliberately gave Long Fei 2 days off. After all, Long Fei has just returned to England. Whether it's in training or personal life, it takes some time to adapt. But what he didn't expect was, Long Fei is so hardworking. Surprisingly, I voluntarily came to the training ground for training. Watching Long Fei sweat profusely on the training ground. It seems to have been here for quite some time now. Previously, Long Fei's amazing long-range transmission skills. We have already conquered Mobley. And at this moment, Long Fei's diligence. It left a very good impression in Mobley's heart. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 8. Dragon Country Foreign Aid. Manchester United is definitely not in a trap. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who? Long Fei, sweating profusely, finally stopped to rest for a while. I just noticed the head coach Mowbray standing behind me. Good morning, Coach Mobley. Long Fei waved and said. Long Fei is fluent in English. The coach Mowbray was stunned. Dragon, your English is so good. How come I didn't notice yesterday? Long Fei was taken aback and explained with a reason. I used to have some basic knowledge, but I am currently in tutoring. After all, this is the only way to have good communication with teammates. Mobley nodded in approval. You're right. Every year, countless talented foreign players venture into England. But there are only a few who can make a name for themselves. The language barrier is significant. And many people are also unwilling to spend time tutoring language courses in addition to training. Long, your positive attitude is admirable, and I believe your career will never be limited to the English Championship arena. Between two people discussing. Blackburn's first-team players have gradually arrived at the training ground. Looking at these lazy team members, Mowbray couldn't help but feel angry. What time is it? Why don't you wait until this afternoon to come back for training? The players quickly returned to the team and stood up. Dunn, who defended his midfield and was also the vice-captain of the team, muttered softly, "It's set to train at 8 o'clock, and we're not late either." Dunn. "What are you whispering?" Mobley spoke sternly. Dunn coughed and replied. "I said the coach has great vision." Mobley snorted and continued. "Look at you guys, losing in the league last time, you don't have any sense of crisis. You're still so lazy and scattered. If you lose again, you'll be in the relegation zone. You all take a look. The new team members must work harder than you." Mobley's words. It also successfully focused the attention of the entire team on Long Fei. The Asian face, the dragon flying like an oriental. It also aroused everyone's curiosity. "Coach, didn't we say we wanted to loan a midfielder from the English Premier League powerhouse Manchester United? What, is that him?" Blackburn's main striker, Captain Rhodes asked. Rhodes remained expressionless as he spoke. But there was clearly some confusion in the tone. His words are actually a question for the entire Blackburn team's players. The team's financial resources were already insufficient. Being able to draw from the team of the powerhouse Manchester United. Loaned a midfielder. This was originally a joyful thing. This indicates that in the second half of the season, the team's midfield will have thighs to hug. It can definitely sweep away the haze of the team approaching the relegation zone. Result. The whole team looked at the young, oriental-faced unfamiliar player in front of them. My face couldn't help but be filled with question marks. Is this really a Manchester United player? Coach Mowbray cleared his throat and said. This is a talented player just signed by Manchester United, Long Fei from Dragon Country. Don't look at him as young, he is a highly talented player. When I hear that the dragon flies from the Dragon Kingdom. Still a young rookie newly signed by Manchester United. The Blackburn team members looked at each other with a disappointed expression on their faces. Coach, I don't mean to disrespect my new teammates. But I thought the team was going to loan an experienced Premier League midfielder. Captain Rhodes said helplessly. Blackburn suffered from a lack of attacking ability this season. The forward and captain of Rhodes has been heavily criticized by the media. This also made Rhodes cry out for injustice. Because Rhodes knows very well this season. My physical condition and competitive state are definitely at the best of my career. This can be seen from the data of this season. Although Rhodes has scored 11 goals in 26 matches in various competitions so far this season. Compared to the 15 goals from the same period last season, he scored 4 fewer goals. But according to data from the English Championship League. As of now, Rhodes' number of shots this season has decreased by up to 30% compared to the same period last season. Nearly 1/3 of the shots were missed. He only scored 4 goals less than last season. This is already very rare. The reason why I have shot so few times this season. It is precisely because of the midfield that there is no technical player who can pass the ball. No matter how powerful a striker is, players without midfield support can feed the cake. How do you convert into a goal? Even if you are the football king Maradona, you cannot rely solely on yourself for every goal, without relying on midfield teammates for support. Therefore, Rhodes is not solely targeting dragon flying. He really feels. A young dragon flies. It's far from what I imagined as a Premier League level midfielder who can deliver a good goal. The thoughts of other players are actually similar. Even if we were to loan a substitute midfielder from Manchester United, that would be fine. Being able to play as a substitute for the powerhouse Manchester United. At the English Championship stage, at least he is also a reliable mainstay, with the existence of a dimension reduction strike. But a young player who has just landed in Britain has been loaned out. Still from the Dragon Kingdom in the football desert. This is too unreliable, isn't it? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. In Chapter 9, do you call this a passing expert? This is clearly. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Faced with the doubts of the team members. Head coach Mowbray has a calm expression on his face. Rhodes, you've been complaining that there's not a good passer on the team. And now, the best passer is already in the formation. Rhodes was taken aback. But obviously there was no connection between Mowbray's words and Long Fei. Do you still remember the game of finding a basket? Mobley continued to ask. Rhodes nodded. The basket hunting game is a small game for team training and relaxation. Place the football basket inside the field. The player attempted to kick the football into the basket. The farther the distance, the higher the difficulty naturally. This is a small game that tests the accuracy of players in long passes. The current record within the team is 42 meters. This is still the best result after multiple attempts. Coach Mowbray once said. Who can kick into the basket from 50 meters away? So we can reduce the amount of training on weekdays. But no one has ever done it yet. Rhodes couldn't help but glance at Long Fei. Coach Mowbray suddenly mentioned this game. Is it difficult for this young man to complete the record of 50 meters? But this thought passed in a flash. Rhodes doesn't think Long Fei can easily do it. Bring the basket, I think Long Fei can show it in front of you. Mowbray said. The words of the head coach caused discussions among Blackburn's players. Is this Dragon man really a good passer? The record of 42 meters was also achieved after multiple attempts by Vice-Team Dunn. How could it be so easy to break this record? Deputy Captain Dunn also shook his head and said. Whenever there is a good long pass player within the team, I don't have to do defensive work and also have to juggle the task of playing in midfield. Dunn serves as a defensive midfielder for Blackburn. The football style is fierce, and the defensive ability is also among the top midfielders in the English Championship. Blackburn's long pass from midfield during attack. Many times, we have to rely on Dunn to take on both defensive and defensive roles. Visible as Blackburn's midfield passer. To what extent is it already lacking? In Dunn's view. If Long Fei really wants to try the find basket game later, I don't expect to break my own record. Can reach about 30 meters and successfully enter the basket. It's already quite good. Captain Rhodes looked around. Pointing to another venue in the distance, he said. Yesterday during the second team's training, I brought the basket to that court. I'll go get the basket over. No need. Rhodes just turned around to go. A calm and silent Long Fei. At this moment, he spoke calmly. There's no need to make a special trip. Long Fei took 2 steps back. To Coach Mowbray. Coach, could you please pass me the ball at your feet? Mobley looked surprised. He seemed to have a premonition of what Long Fei was going to do. He turned his head and glanced at the football basket on the distant field. Although I have witnessed the strength of Long Fei. But this distance. It's inevitable that. Mowbray half believed and half doubted, passing the ball to Long Fei. At this moment, the entire Blackburn team was clearly still in a state of confusion. No one understood what Long Fei had just said. What is the meaning behind it? Bang! Facing the football coming from Mowbray. Long Fei did not stop the ball. There have been no adjustments either. But just give it a single kick. This long pass. At the moment when the dragon kicked out. Let all Blackburn players on the field tremble and their faces pale. Doubt, surprise, and confusion flashed across everyone's expressions. When I see a football curve in the air. And the direction of flight is exactly the basket 100 meters away. Everyone's eyes widened. Incredible doubts arose in my heart. What is he doing? Is he planning to pass the ball directly to the basket here? Dong! The sound of football entering the basket is very quiet. So small that all the players on the field know for the first time. At a distance of 100 meters. The sound of kicking a football into the basket. So it looks like this. Quiet. Asphyxia. On the field where there was much discussion just now. At this moment it was completely silent. All Blackburn players were petrified, staring straight at the basketball basket 100 meters away. The precision of Long Fei's long pass is too magical. Magical enough to make all the players unresponsive. Surprise and dullness. Becoming the only expression that everyone can present now. The distance between this and the basket. Yes, how far is it? Vice-Captain Dunn swallowed a mouthful of saliva and asked in a daze. He was still thinking just now. Can Long Fei break his record of 42 meters into the basket? But the reality is. I seem to be too naive. Although he can roughly estimate. At least 100 meters away. But he still wants to hear the voice of another bystander. So as to make one's brain believe. What I saw just now is indeed true. Instead of dreaming. At least 100 meters. Brown's chin in the front waist has not closed yet, still looking surprised. Captain Rhodes' expression. From confusion to shock. From shock to ecstasy. He looked at Long Fei, his previous doubts and contempt. At this moment, it has already been swept away. A good passer. This is really a passing master. Little brother, I beg for your great support in the new book. Seeking evaluation votes. Begging for flowers. Please comment. Give me some confidence. Football literature is a niche among the underdogs in Feilu. But there's really no way, I can only write football articles. So, little brother, I will write every plot carefully. Everyone has great suggestions, welcome to leave a message in the comments section. Little brother, I will continue to work hard. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 10. Precise passing in 100 meters. Blackburn. You are listening at novel full.audio. 100 meters away. Give the ball a kick. One hit and hit. Blackburn's entire team watched the passing footwork of a dragon flying god. I haven't reacted for a long time. If it weren't for what I saw with my own eyes, no one would dare to believe it even if I spoke it out. Coach, this. He. Captain Rhodes is now filled with a huge sense of surprise. Looking at head coach Mobley. Watching the dragon fly again. At this moment, I was so excited that I couldn't even speak clearly. Rhodes is certainly thrilled to death at this moment. As the team's top striker. A midfielder who can pass the ball. It's his dream teammate. And like Long Fei. A midfield with such an incredible level of passing accuracy. It's a court benefactor that he can't even think of. The other teammates looked at Long Fei with a surprised expression on their faces. They need to re-examine this new teammate now. The young man newly signed by Manchester United. A substitute player for Manchester United. Just rely on Long Fei's long pass footwork just now. We all believe that he is a top midfielder in the English Premier League. Coach Mowbray was pleasantly surprised in his heart. When looking at everyone, there was also a very proud expression on his face. It's like saying, "Look, this is the genius player I loaned for you." Mowbray coughed and cleared his throat, then said solemnly, "All right, this is your new teammate. Genius midfielder, Long Fei." Wow. The entire Blackburn team on the field gave applause to Long Fei. There is nothing more convincing than directly showcasing one's strength in self-introduction. Appreciation for teammates. Long Fei naturally responded with a smile. "Dragon, welcome to Blackburn." Captain Rhodes took the lead in expressing his position. At this moment, Rhodes had already written his joy on his face. There is a long-past genius like Long Fei. The stubborn illness of the team's weak forwards can definitely be alleviated. Welcome. Blackburn's other teammates also cheered Long Fei. Mobley looked at the current good atmosphere, also nodding in satisfaction. Okay, the addition of Long Fei will definitely be a great reinforcement for our midfield strength. In the next few days, the Dragon will join us in practicing together. Now, it's time to sprint towards the next half of the season. Okay. All the players in the team spoke in unison. Long Fei's long-past strength. Undoubtedly, it has inspired the Blackburn team. There's nothing more inspiring than hope. The team loaned such an excellent passing midfielder. It also fills the whole team with expectations for the second half of the season. Dragon Kingdom. The headquarters of the Chinese Football Association. The chief office of the Chinese Football Association. Leader, look. The leader of the men's football team, Lan Yong, walked into the office. Excitedly, a news item was placed on the desk of Chen Shuyuan, the chairman of the Chinese Football Association. "I'll just say, this Long Fei is just a backdoor agent who made it to the list as a Manchester United scout. I know his strength very well. Even if he is signed by Manchester United, he won't stay long. Look, Long Fei just signed with Manchester United and was relegated to the English Championship team by Manchester United." Chen Shuyuan glanced at the news. With a sneer, he said, "That's best. This kind of disobedient little player can't be kept at all. Being so disobedient to discipline at a young age, I don't know my weight. In a few years, won't it be like turning the tables?" Chen Shuyuan snorted coldly. Thinking of Long Fei's unwillingness to play fake football, it is obvious that he still harbors a grudge. This kid has fled to Britain now and has not been able to stay in the Dragon Kingdom. Our hands are not that long, so it's a bit cheaper for him. Lan Yong nodded and agreed. "Chairman Cheng, you don't have to worry, this kid can't jump around for long. He just joined Manchester United and was sent down by the team. This indicates that his strength is not enough, and he definitely won't be able to stay in Britain for long. I can't understand his strength any better. He does have a little talent in the Provincial Games. But that bit of talent wants to play football in Europa, it's just wishful thinking. He is now relegated to Blackburn in the Championship, believe me, he will soon be kicked out by Blackburn. When he can't continue to live in Britain, he will have to return home in a disheveled state. We'll slowly kill him then." Lan Yong's words also made Chen Shuyuan nod in satisfaction. Chen Shuyuan still emphasized. "Say hello to those media friends, I want to ruin this kid's reputation." Lan Yong nodded repeatedly and said, "Don't worry, this kid won't be better off." The news of Long Fei joining Manchester United and loaning Blackburn Rovers. It was quickly reported by the media of Dragon Country. Dragon Country players stay abroad to play in foreign leagues. This was originally an uplifting piece of good news. But in these news, it has come under the pen of some media. But a completely different art style emerged. Just signed with Manchester United and was loaned out. Related parties are destined not to stay long. Long Fei suspected of being kicked out by Manchester United. The prospect of being relegated on loan is worrying. Strength is the hard indicator. Just joined and was demoted. The road to studying abroad is not that simple. Being down to earth is the right path. The pseudo-genius of Dragon Country exposes his true strength in England. It is obvious that these news were deliberately released under the guidance of the Chinese Football Association. The purpose is to stigmatize Long Fei. These news have also caused many Dragon Country fans to shake their heads repeatedly. Ah, I knew exactly where there would be any geniuses in Dragon Country football. Hee, Bai is happy for a game. I even fantasized about him getting a chance to play at Manchester United. Manchester United is currently in a low valley after Ferguson, but even if it's a low valley, not everyone can easily get by. The next step is probably not to be able to survive in Blackburn either. What a shame. However, there are also many rational fans at this time. Although Blackburn is a team in the English Championship, according to the football level of Dragon Country, it would be great if players could play in the Championship. It's not bad to have a solid foothold in the Championship. After all, the veteran Chinese football legend Fan Dajiang also played at the Championship level. Take your time. However, the speeches of these fans quickly drowned out by most of the criticisms against Long Fei. I completed 25,000 words in a day and a half without saving any manuscripts, all thanks to passion. The data cannot be said to be unsatisfactory, it can only be said to be very poor. Please vote for your support, or leave a message in the comments section to let me know that someone is watching. Thank you. There is nothing to report, only code words can be used to repay everyone. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.